Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. JustusRStone here today with my review of Volume 1 of the light novel series Seraph of the End, Guren Ichinose Catastrophe at 16. Now this is by Takaya Kagami, who is the original author of the Seraph of the End manga series. This light novel series is a prequel to the manga, or if you've seen the anime that was based on the manga. It's set about 8 to 9 years before the events of the manga, and it focuses on main character Guren Ichinose. He's the head of the Ichinose clan, which is that's sort of a breakaway from this conglomerate of magic-using clans called the Imperial Order of Demons. Because they're a breakaway clan, they are pretty much looked down on by the top clans in the order, particularly the Hiragis, who are the leaders of this clan. Now when we pick up with Guren, he is actually about to start high school, and of course it is a special high school for the magic-using children of the clan members. And really, he's only there because he figures that the Hiragis just want to make sure that he is under their thumb, because otherwise, why would they let him into their big playground? Now, Guren is a very driven individual. He is determined to be as strong as possible to one day lead the Ichinose clan to victory over the Hiragis. And so when he enters the high school, he is determined to hide his actual strength so that he doesn't arouse suspicion amongst the other clans. The story is one part high school drama in terms of how Guren is abused and mistreated by the other students and looked down upon, how he finds a few allies within the high school itself, but mainly this is also about driving forward to that apocalyptic world that the Seraph of the End manga takes place in, where the world is ruled over by vampires. And so the book also involves a number of factions with political intrigues and human experimentations and magic out of control. There's a lot going on, and it's really to the credit of the author that not only does it make sense as you go through the book, but that it all seems to add up and become cohesive as you're going. Guren as a main character is phenomenal in this book. I really enjoyed him. He is intelligent, he makes wise decisions, and even when he's making decisions that he's unsure of, he knows enough, he is self-aware enough to question whether he's making the right choice or what kind of outcomes may come about because of those. And even though he is driven by this desire to become very, very powerful, there's also this center of him that he is only going to do it on his own terms. That it isn't that he is going to just sell himself to anybody or anything in order to gain that power. And it gives him a bit of a moral center, and it makes him a very relatable character and an enjoyable character, because you have to respect that he is looking for the power within himself and that he is pushing himself and striving for his own ends as opposed to just relying on others or shortcuts. Now, Vertical, that released this original English adaptation, it's an Omnibus Edition. So what they've done is they've taken the first 2 volumes of this series. According to Wikipedia, there are currently 6 volumes in the Guren Ichinose storyline. I think that's all there are. So this Omnibus Edition is actually the volumes 1 and 2 that were released in Japan. So you actually get 2 books for the price of 1, which is kind of cool. The other thing that I really enjoyed about that is that the place where book 2 ends is a lot more satisfying than I think if I had just finished it where book 1 ends. There's a very definite ending, but at the same time it really does leave that door open that you can see how much more there is yet to come. Now, I'm coming at this series from somebody who has never read the manga of Seraph of the End, nor have I seen the anime. So I can tell you that from a person's perspective that has not had any experience with that series, the novel is still really enjoyable and really engages. I think possibly because it does speak on a lot of levels to just those normal story types and tropes that a lot of people really relate to. The underdog who is stronger and better than what everybody gives him credit for, so you really feel that need to root for him. And as I said, he is still a good character, so you don't feel bad rooting for him. And you also, all of these things that are adding up and these different players that come into things, it really does drive the novel at a really fast pace. There's not much in the way that feels like filler. Everything is important, and you just can feel like this world is so much teetering on the edge. In terms of coming at this from no experience with the series, I will say that initially when I started reading it, there were a few things that I just felt a little bit out of sorts. Like, the vampires are mentioned, but they're mentioned in just sort of a casual, yeah, they exist kind of way. There's really no backstory on how they exist, what they are, how they differ from humans. It's just a taken for granted kind of thing. Which, it's a minor thing, and really it's not as integral to the story that it takes away from it. And also the whole Order of the Imperial Demon, you get a bit more of an explanation about that, and you sort of, as you experience the story and you experience how Guren is treated by the other members of the clans, you really do get a good understanding of how it works, why it works, what it is, and how this whole caste system seems to function. But initially it was a little disorienting because, of course, I had no idea. I didn't even realize that there were magic users in this world. So all in all, a really good light novel. Now, Takaya Kagami is a light novelist as well as the manga writer for Seraph of the End, and you can really tell because of the pacing and because of how things are framed and the language use and so forth. It really does come through that this is an actual novelist who is writing this, and it comes through really well, and the story feels very well put together. I really enjoyed it, as I said, not even knowing... I'm sure there are a lot of things that, like little insider characters and stuff, that if you're familiar with the series, the manga, you would probably think it's even cooler because you'd recognize when those names are mentioned and stuff. But I didn't, but it still worked for me. And the characters that are sort of shouted out or mentioned, they make sense. Like, it isn't like they're just there for the sake of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, recognize this guy. You know, like, they actually serve a purpose in the story. It doesn't feel forced. So I really enjoyed this one. As far as a prequel to a series, I think this worked even better than the Attack on Titan prequels. That's probably because it is being written by the creator of the original storyline. So this is probably all material that the author already knew and is now just giving us that in a different type of format. So, Seraph of the End, Guren Ichinose Catastrophe at 16, Volume 1. I really recommend it whether you are a fan of Seraph of the End or not. I think it is a really good series that does stand on its own 2 feet, although I must say it has really inspired me to go and check out the Seraph of the End manga. So, that's my thoughts on this one. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked it, please click on that like. It's awesome to see that you guys appreciate these reviews. Subscribe to the channel so you can see my future reviews, including future volumes of Seraph of the End. And in my next video, I'm going to be reviewing Reiki Kawahara's newest series, The Isolator. This will be Volume 1, and I will be doing that in my next video. Hope to see you there. Until then, bye-bye for now.